Dasya Gyananjana Shalaka Chakshur Unmilitan Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Shishtam Manumati Sachi Putramatra Sarupam Rupam Tasya Gujamuripuri Matarim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghujagoshi Jiva Gopalako Vande Nantadvatashayam Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhum Nichopi Yat Prasadat Sadbhakti Shastra Pavartaka Nityananda Maham Nomi Sarvanandakaram Param Harinama Padam Devam Avaduta Sharomini Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannataya Te Namaha Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Pancha Kopatubhischa Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavinibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So good morning, dear devotees. Hope you're all well, keeping warm in this winter. It's also very cold here in Mayapur, but we're staying warm. Difference is here, there's no central heating. If it's cold, it's cold. There's AC in the summertime and fans, but there's no central heating, so you just bundle up. So today we're very fortunate to be reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami with Srila Prabhupada's beautiful, enlightening, illuminating purports. So let us chant Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Daita Chanda Jaya Gora Bhakta Vinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Daita Chanda Jaya Gora Bhakta Vinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Daita Chanda Jaya Gora Bhakta Vinda Jai Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur. So we'll start with text 3, reading from chapter 22. I'll read through some texts and highlight some important points that Srila Prabhupada makes in purports. Text 3, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I have described one's relationship with Krishna in various ways. This is the subject matter of all the Vedas. Krishna is the center of all activities. Actually, this is a whole class. Just this 2 sentences, so profound. Because Krishna is everything. We read in Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, Vedaishta sarvara aham eva vedyo, Vedanta krit veda vid eva chaham. It says, I am the goal of Vedas, Vedanta, Veda Anta. And we say for devotees, Bhakti Vedanta. Srila Prabhupada's title is Bhakti Veda Anta. That Bhakti is the objective, it's the goal of Vedas, the ultimate goal, Veda Anta. Anta means the end goal, the acme, the best, the highest achievement is Bhakti. And Bhakti is a verb also, like some walk and walking, swim and swimming. So Bhakti means Lord and the devotee, the served and the servant. So we're engaged in bhakti, the service of the Lord. This is Vedanta. The conclusion of all Vedas is bhakti, Bhakti Vedanta, because Krishna is the goal of all Vedas. The goal of Vedas isn't, as some people misconstrue, they misunderstand, elevation to the heavenly planets, jnana, yoga, karma, a good birth. Bhagavad Gita says, Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipaschita veda vadarata partha nandhyana stiti vadina kamatmara swargapara janma karma phala pradam kriyavishesha bahulam janma karma, it's kriyavishesha bahulam. Anyway, I'm forgetting last line.
Bhogashwarya.
Bhogaisvarja gatim prati, thank you. They're thinking the goal, they say the goal of Veda is Bhoga Aisvarja. This is the gati. The goal of Veda is material sense gratification and opulence. So they're called Veda Vada Rata. Devotee understands that Krishna is the goal of Veda. And the essence of Veda is what? Srimad Bhagavatam. Saram Saram Samudratam. The essence of all Veda is Bhagavatam. Narad Muni gave all the Vedas, Smriti, Shruti, corollary information related to Vedic knowledge. And still, after producing such an extraordinary body of literature, unparalleled body of literature, he was unsatisfied. So Narad Muni came to Vedavyas. He said, why? Because why am I so despondent? Why am I feeling like this? Narad Muni said, told him, because you have not glorified the personal activities of the Supreme Lord. So therefore he gave Bhagavatam, which is the essence, the conclusion. It's the natural commentary on all Vedas. So this is subject matter is Krishna. Ultimate subject matter of Vedas is Krishna. Veda is just aham eva vidyaha. The aham says, I am the goal. I am the compiler. I am the knower and I am to be known. This is Krishna. And it's written here, Krishna is the center of all activities. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chaitasa sarvakarmani mayi sanyasya matpara buddhi yogam bhasyatya machchita satatam bhava. And all activities just depend on me, work for my satisfaction. In devotional service, always work in this consciousness of me. Chaitasa sarva karmani. The Krishna should be the center of all activities. And this is the life of a devotee. In the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Yat korosha yadashtasi yashtahosi dadasi yat yatabasasi kunteya vat kuraswamanarpanam. That whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, give away, whatever sacrifice, austerities you perform, madarpanam. Now you do that for me, offer it to me. And this isn't just an empty sacrifice. No, not at all. Because there is a result, a wonderful result when we offer our activities to Krishna, when we acknowledge that Krishna is the enjoyer of my life. He's the enjoyer of my family life. He's the enjoyer of my business life. He's the enjoyer of my spiritual. He's a complete enjoyer in every aspect of my life. If we act in that way, if we understand it, we will act in that way. And when we do act in that way, there's a very wonderful result. The next verse says, Shubha Shubha Palariva Moksha Se Karma Bandhanai Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatmo Vimokto Mam Upayishasi. He says, when we work in this way, making Krishna the enjoyer, the center of all of our activities, then there is no Shubh and Ashubh, auspiciousness and inauspiciousness. In 3rd chapter it says, Jagatat karmanonyata lokoyam karma tadartam karma konteya. If we act in this world, tadartam, for the satisfaction of the Lord, we're not bound to this world. Yoga yukta sanata. This is yoga yukta, sannyas yoga. To work, but to make Krishna the enjoyer of our activities, to make him the center of all our activities. For example, we live in houses, we drive cars, we have money in the bank. And the materialistic person, they also drive cars, they have their home, they have their bank account, their income, their food, their family. They have all of those things. What is the difference? From the external point of view, a non-devotee will look at the life of a devotee and the life of the neighbor, of his neighbor, and say, what is the difference? What's the big deal? Difference is in our consciousness. Prabhupada called it Krishna consciousness. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Manasa deho geho yoki chamor arpilantu apade Nanda Kishore. Oh, Nanda Kishore, Krishna, beloved son of Nanda Maharaj. Everything is yours. I offer everything to you because it is yours. This is the consciousness of a devotee. You can't weigh consciousness. You can't take a picture of consciousness. You can't quantify consciousness. But we see it in the activities of a devotee. Everything is for Krishna. We drive cars. We drive cars to go and Sankirtan. We drive cars to go to work, to raise funds, to support ashram and temple and preaching activities. We live in a house becomes a temple. We install the deity. We worship the deity. We make our kitchen, a temple kitchen. We cook food there to offer to the deity. Everything is for Krishna. Everything is for Krishna. And what is the result? Shubha Shubha Palarivam. Moksha Se Karma Bandhanai. We become free from the reaction of work. Karma Bandhanai. We become free from that. Vimokto Mam Upaisisi. And ultimately, we're liberated. And Krishna says, Mam Upaisisi. You come back to me. What more we want in life? What more do we want? Bhakti is so beautiful. Bhakti is so sublime, so wonderful. Live your life and make Krishna the center. Everything is there. Prabhupada gave me an example. He said, just like the servant of the king. The servant of the king lives in the palace. He wears beautiful clothes like the king. He enjoys the same atmosphere as the palace. He eats the same food as the king. What is the difference between him and the king? The servant acknowledges he's the king and I'm the servant. So devotional life is something like that. We live our life, but Krishna is acknowledged. Krishna is acknowledged as the enjoyer of our activities. And this is making Krishna the center of all activities. So these few sentences are very, very profound. Everything's there in a few sentences. But let us read some more. Now I shall speak of the characteristics of devotional service by which one can attain the shelter of Krishna and his loving transcendental service. Very, very important to hear. What are those principles? What are the characteristics of devotional service? What does devotional service mean? And we talk about it. Are you engaged in devotional service? Did you do your devotional service? What kind of devotional service do you do? What is the quality of your devotional service? Devotional service is our life. So if we're going to speak about it, this is a very important topic that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to speak. By which one can attain the shelter of Krishna and his loving transcendental service. How do we get Krishna? How do we get that transcendental loving service? How does Krishna reveal himself? How does he award pure devotional service? Only by bhakti. Nasteva, nasteva, nasteva. Not by karma, not by jnana, not by yoga, by bhakti. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan jastasmi tattata bhakti. That only Lord says, only by devotional service. That priyosime, I'm giving you this transcendental knowledge, that become my devotee, worship me, offer your obeisances to me, fix your mind upon me, surrender to me. This is the most confidential knowledge. Why is Krishna giving it? Satyam te, why is he saying this is truth? This is absolute truth? Because priyosime, because you're very dear to me. The Atma, Jivatma, individual, infinitesimal soul is very, very dear to Krishna. Krishna loves us more than we can imagine, more than we can have capacity to understand. It's like trying to take the ocean and fill it, and place the ocean within a 1 gallon container. How much how much love can we accept from Krishna? How much is he willing to give? We can't understand, but how much are we able to take? This is the problem. So Krishna is understood by bhakti. Next verse, a human being's activity should be centered only on devotional service to Lord Krishna. That is the verdict of all Vedic literatures, and all saintly people have firmly concluded this. This we talked about. Krishna is the center, Krishna is the enjoyer. Bhaktaram jagapat tapasam sarvaloka mahish suradam sarvabhutanam gyatvam shantim richtati. And we have to acknowledge these things, that he's the enjoyer, he's the dearmost friend, he's the proprietor, Maheshwaram, Surit. Surit is a very interesting Sanskrit word. Surit means most intimate friend. Most intimate friend. We can say someone's your bandhu. He's your friend, your mitra, your pal, your acquaintance. We have different levels of friendship. Someone's a social acquaintance, a casual acquaintance, a friend, an intimate friend. But the most intimate friend is Surit. Surit is that person, even you offend him, you may even strike his body, but he'll never take offense. And this is Krishna, who is accompanying us birth after birth after birth in the material world, and continues to accompany us, to bless us, to provide for us, to guide us, to try and bring us out of the material world, qualify us to enter into his own abode. He wants to take us back to Godhead. What kind of friend is that? Someone who loans you money or lets you drive their car or does some favor for you. Those are all good. But what is the topmost act of friendship, topmost benediction, topmost blessing? Krishna wants to take us back to God and give us eternal life in his own kingdom. But we have to we have to want to go. When the mother Veda Shruti is questioned as to whom to worship, she says that you are the only Lord and worshipable object. Similarly, the corollaries of the Shruti Shastras, the Smriti Shastras, give the same instructions, just like sisters. The Puranas, which are like brothers, follow in the footsteps of their mother, O enemy of the demon Mura. The conclusion is that you are the only shelter. Now I've understood this truth. Now, let me see. Am I able to share?
Yes, Prabhu, you should be able to.
Okay,
Yeah,
because there's a nice. Okay, are you seeing that?
yeah, it's coming up. Yep. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so it's a nice diagram when we talk about Shruti. Shruti is the Vedas, and corollary to that is Smritis. So we have this huge. I thought I'd show this. It's a nice graph. It's a nice illustration to show what is the depth of our Shastra. Vedangas are there. Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakarna, Chandas, Jyotish, Nirukta, Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva, all for the welfare of human beings. Vedanta, Veda Vyas, all this huge body of literature that is impossible to digest in one lifetime is all there by the grace of Veda Vyas and our acharyas. So it's a nice thing there. Okay, let's go back. So how do we govern our life? Our whole life is governed by Shastra. Bhagavad Gita says, Na Shastra Vina Utsaja, Bhartate Kamakarata, Na Sasiddhim Avapnoti, Na Sukham Na Parangati. We want to happiness, elevation, obtaining the kingdom of God. Then Shastra Vidhi, the instructions of Shastra, the injunctions of Shastra, the rules of Shastra are required. Shastra means Shas Dhatu, the root word of Shastra is Shas. Shastra, 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 Shashana, Shishya, all Shas Dhatu. Shas Dhatu means that verb, that which controls. So Shastra is meant to give guidelines to human society, how to live in this world and not become entangled. It's like if you, for example, if you purchase a new car or a used car even, what is in the glove box? You'll find an instruction manual that the petrol has to go here, the oil has to go here, the windshield washing fluid has to go here. You can't put windshield fluid in the engine, you'll burn your engine. You can't put gasoline in your windshield washing, your car will catch on fire. There's instruction manual how to use the car to your advantage. So Shastra is that, it gives us instruction how to live in this world, how to fulfill our material desires that we came to this material world to fulfill, and how to not become entangled in the execution of our activities, and ultimately how to come back, back home, back to Godhead. This is Shastra, so important. Without Shastra, na sukham, na param gati, no happiness, no elevation, no going back to Godhead. Shastra is everything. Prabhupada said, Shastra is the center of everything. What gives Srila Prabhupada his authority? Shastra. What is he teaching us? Shastra. He's not making anything up. He's not created. He's not manufactured the process of bhakti. He's given in Shastra. Prabhupada's authority is Shastra. Prabhupada doesn't give authority to Shastra. Shastra gives authority to Prabhupada. And if you listen to Prabhupada's lectures, as we all should, we'll never hear a single lecture where Prabhupada doesn't quote Shastra. Just verse after verse, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Upanishads, Ramayana, Bhagavatam, Gita, Chaitanya Bhagavat. What verse after verse that this he's laying it in front of us. This is what Shastra says. And we should learn to teach Krishna consciousness in the same way. No, I think, it could be, maybe, it's my opinion. No, we say, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. What did Krishna say? What did Veda Vyas say? What does Narada Muni say? What does Gautama Rishi say? What does Jaime, all these different great sadhus, what do they say? What is their point of view? This is authority. Nothing, no need to concoct everything because it's already been spoken. Krishna is the non-dual absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although he is one, he maintains different personal expansions and energies for his pastimes. Krishna expands himself in many forms. I was looking, I have a very wonderful graph of all different Manvantaras, Shaktivesh avatars, Purusha avatars, all different avatars of the Lord. It's very, and I looked, I wasted like 20 minutes trying to find it on my computer and I could not find it, unfortunately. But the point is that this person, Krishna, appears in so many different ways. In many different, in the Vaikuntha lokas, all different Vishnu forms. As first expansion Lord Balaram, and from Balaram, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva, and expanded in the Purusha avatars, the different, all different manifestations. He's the same person. People misunderstand this point. They say, oh, you're a devotee of Rama. I'm a devotee of Krishna. Okay, but they're the same person. Who is Rama? Rama adi murti shukala niyamena tishta nanavataram akaro bhuvaneshu kintu. Krishna swayam sambhavat paramapumanyo. Govindamadi purusham tama. He's Govinda. He's Govinda in the mood of a dharmic king to show what is dharma. Puratranaya sadhanam, to bless the Vaishnavas, to bless the devotees. Vinashaya to dushkatam, to destroy Ravana. It's all his leela. He appears millennium after millennium. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavatam. He appears every millennium. He's the same person. So a devotee of Krishna is very happy, bowing down, worshipping Rama. But people have this sectarian mentality because of misunderstanding. There's only one God who appears in a multitude of forms. He is Vishnu, but he's not complete Supreme Personality. Only Krishna is the supreme, complete whole. Sadaisvarja Purna. This is explained by, not Veda Vyas, Parashar Muni. He explains that Krishna is Sadaisvarja Purna. Aisvaryasya samagrasya viryasya yasasya jnana vayagriyas chaiva sabdinam, and he's complete in 6 ways. Krishna is completely, that he has attributes that Lord Vishnu doesn't have. He's surrounded by beautiful, loving friends. His inestimable beauty. He plays beautiful flute. He has beautiful leela. These activities are not present in Vaikuntha. Therefore, devotees, our interest is not to go to Vaikuntha. We sing every Kartik Mas, Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksha Vadhimpa Nachanyam Prineham Vareshadapiha Idam Teva Purnata Gopala Balam Sadame Manasya Virastam Kimanyay. We don't want anything else. We don't want to go to Varam Deva Moksha. The topmost liberation means what? Going to Vaikuntha. We don't want to go to Vaikuntha and sit at the feet of Lord Vishnu. We want to engage in pastimes, intimate pastimes of Krishna and Goloka, playing with him, dancing with him, eating with him, wrestling with him, bathing him, dressing him, waking him up, all the activities. The gopis, Mother Yashoda, the Gopals, Nanda Maharaj, the cows, the peacocks, the parrots, the land, Mother Yashoda, Yamuna. This is our interest, not Goloka. Everyone's just bowing down to Lord Vishnu. This is wonderful. Vaishnava, they're all Vaishnavas, they're great devotees. But our vision is something more than that. Goloka namni nijadam nitale chatasya devi mahesha haridama suteshu teshu. To Goloka Vrindavan, highest planet. And below that, Vaikuntha planets. Below that, Lord Shiva's place, Mahesh Dham, Below that, Devi Dham. Going to go Loka and sport with Krishna, have loving relationship with Krishna, not get distracted. So he has many forms. They're all expansions of his personal self. Prabhupada mentions, it's mentioned here in the translation, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva. They're all incarnations from Vaikuntha. He comes here, and the living beings are his parts and parcels. The verse says here, expansions of his personal self, like the quadruple. We read that. Prabhupada writes in the purport, the personal expansions are known as Vishnu Tattva, and the separated expansions are known as Jiva Tattva. This is an important thing. The Prabhupada said the living being, the Jiva, is a sample God. Sample, use this word sample God, a minute portion of God. Jivatma. He has the same quality as God. But Vaivamsu Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. But what is our problem? Manashastan Indriyani Prakriti-stani Karshati. Karshati means a hard struggle. Because of our foolishness, we've come to the material world. And we struggle with our six senses, which include the mind. Struggle just to keep food in our mouth, clothes on our back, a roof over our head. Trying to be happy, trying to enjoy, trying to live forever in a place we cannot stay. These are the illusions of the living being. But we are the same stuff, the same substance as Krishna. Sample Krishna. Krishna is Brahman, we are also Brahman. And Prabhupada quotes the verse, Bhagavad Gita 7:4, says, Bhumyarapanalovayu kamano buddhirevacha. This next verse, Prabhupada's quoting here, Aparayamitastamyam prakriti vidyame param jiva bhuta mahabaho yedam daryate jagat. How is the whole world going on? Why are there highways and cars and skyscrapers and roads and all the whole material experience? How is it happening? The combination of Jivatma and Prakriti. Basically, there are three energies: the Supreme Lord's energy, Paraprakriti, Aparaprakriti, and marginal energy, Jiva soul. This is called Tatastha Shakti. Tatastha Shakti means the Jiva soul. Tatastha means Tatastha, where on the bank of a river, where the water meets the shore. We can't say it's dirt and we can't say it's water. It's a marginal place where the water and the dirt meet, the shore and the river. Meet is called Tatastha. So this example is given to explain the position of the living being, but we're also Lord's energy. We belong to the Lord. We belong to that world, to that transcendental land, to that transcendental soil. Chintamani prakara satmasu, kalpa vriksha laksha abhitesha. We belong to that world, not this world. This is spiritual world is Chintamani Dham, like concentrated consciousness, Chit Shakti, concentrated consciousness. We can say it's like that, like water. If you get water very, very cold, it becomes ice. If you get it hot, it becomes vapor. So material world is like dispersed consciousness, and spiritual world is concentrated consciousness. Form. Krishna has a form. Devotees have form. It's not that this some amorphous light, energy, zero, void. All nonsense idea. Soul, spiritual energy has form. People think because matter is the opposite of spirit, and form and matter has form, then spirit must have no form. This is a foolish conclusion. Spirit has form. Srila Prabhupada was walking with the devotees one morning, and he said, why does my kurta have arms sewn to, why is it sewn in this shape? The devotee said, well, to accommodate your arms, Srila Prabhupada. And he asked, well, why do I have an arm? Why is it this shape? Why isn't it round? Why isn't it square? Why isn't my arm shaped like a triangle? Why is it this shape? The devotees were confused. Prabhupada explained, because the soul has form also. And the highest development, highest achievement, the human form, human-like form that Lord himself has. We have arms and legs. Why? Because Krishna has arms. He has a head, he has a mouth, he has fingernails, he has hair, he has eyes, beautiful lotus eyes, lotus feet. He's not formless. He has spiritual form. Because matter and spirit are different doesn't mean that they're opposites. Matter has form. Spirit also has form. And we also have form. And in that form, we're meant to engage in Lord's service eternally in the kingdom of God as his part and parcel. Mama eva anksha. Jiva bhuta sanatana. We're eternally anksha of the Lord. And how is this world going on? By the combination of that foolish living being who's trying to create his own little Goloka, own little heaven, own little Valhalla, own little heaven here in the material world. Foolishness. But we're Jiva Bhuta. We don't belong here. We belong with Krishna. Translation: the living entities are divided into two categories. Some are eternally liberated and others are eternally conditioned. Jiva Mukta and Jiva Baddha. Nitya Baddha and Nitya Mukta. So Nitya Baddha, by the mercy of pure devotee, we can also become liberated. This is the key to what is the difference. Think for a moment. What is the difference between your life and, let's say, your neighbor's life? Life. He has his home, he has his car, he has his occupation. He's out in his backyard having barbecue with his friends, drinking beer. And devotees are home offering arti, eating gulab jamun, pakora, chutney, having nice kirtan. What is the difference? The association of pure liberated soul, liberated devotee, Srila Prabhupada and his associates. This is the only difference. That somehow or other, by causeless mercy, we've had the association of liberated soul to bring us, to allow us to enter into that category of eternally liberated souls and go to the kingdom of God. Yagatva nidhivartante tadama paramamama. To go there and never again come back to this material world. Translation: those who are eternally liberated always awake to Krishna consciousness and they render transcendental loving service at the feet of Lord Krishna. They are to be considered eternal associates of Krishna and they are eternally enjoying the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. So Prabhupada said that devotional life, bhakti, sadhana bhakti, is like being on probationary stage of devotional life. You can say we have 1 foot in Goloka and 1 foot here in the material world. We're on probation. In the United States prison system, I used to do prison preaching when I was in America. In the prison system there, if someone commits a crime, he's sentenced by the judge and sent to jail. Let's say he gets 10-year sentence. He robbed a bank. You're going to jail. We found you guilty. The evidence is overwhelming. You robbed a bank. You are going to jail. The sentence is 10 years. So after 10 years of a horrible life in jail, he's released, but not directly released. He's on probation. Because he's a criminal, the law and the law courts are concerned that he may reoffend. He may rob another bank. So they put him into a halfway house. At halfway house, he's on probation. He has to go, he has to stay at the halfway house. And for a period of time, he's on probation, say 6 months. He has to sleep at the halfway house, check in with probation officer, go to work, come back to halfway house, go to work, come back and forth. And when he's shown his sincere endeavor to again take up an occupation, an honest occupation in society, then he's a completely free man. So this is an exact parallel to devotional life. Because we've offended, we're here in this material world, instead of being in the kingdom of God with the majority of jiva souls. We're in the material world, but because we've been here for a very long time, we have the opportunity to get out. And when we get out, we're under the jurisdiction of the parole officer. Who is a parole officer? Shri Guru. We have to check in with Guru. He gives us instructions. You have to do like this. You have to do like that. And if you continue, if you show your sincerity, you follow the program, then you become completely liberated and you leave this material world and you're free. So I knew one prisoner. He was stealing from the US government. He was stealing arms and ammunition from the US government, selling it on the street. He was thrown into jail and put on probation. They gave him a car. They gave him a job. All he had to do was drive to work, get a paycheck, drive back, and stay at the halfway house, check in with the parole officer. But he completely freaked out, drove the car to the Mexican border. They caught him at the border, and they put him back in jail. So also, we can fall. If we fall, leaving the instructions of Sri Guru, the parole officer, we go back to the material world. So this is the importance of having Guru, having his instructions, having his blessing, because he's representing the Supreme Personality of God. Sakshat Dharitaina Samasta Shastre. He's representing, he's as good as God. He's representing the Supreme Lord. So translation, apart from the ever-liberated devotees, there are conditioned souls who always turn away from the service of the Lord. They are perpetually conditioned in this material world and are subjected to the material tribulations brought about by different bodily forms and hellish conditions. This is the most amazing thing. Even though people are suffering like anything. Think of it. You're sitting in your home. I'm sitting in my home. Well, I'm comfortable. More than 99% of the world. I'm comfortable. I have a nice place to live. I have a nice prasadam, nice association. Today was my wedding anniversary also, so please bless me and my wife, all Vaishnavas who bless us. Devotees made a nice program. They had a whole bunch of devotees, also with one person's birthday. We all had a big program, 60, 70 devotees. Nice prasadam, wonderful devotees, friends, happiness, sattvic ahar. What more we want in life? And devotees, a materialistic person gives up that greatest opportunity to live such a happy life, and at the end go back to Godhead? Such insanity. They're shooting each other. They're torturing each other. They're slashing each other apart with knives. They're torturing each other. They're stealing, raping, murdering, suffering, disease, poverty. So unhappy life. And we have the answer to stop all that, to change all that. Even what most neophyte devotee knows, what we learn in our first few weeks of exposure to Krishna consciousness can change the world. Just that knowledge can change the world. And there's an urgency to try and distribute this knowledge, to stop, at least mitigate, to minimize the suffering of this world that people are undergoing, suffering beyond in our happy life of Krishna consciousness. We're insulated from all of that. But it's going on. Read the news. It's going on. And it probably will get worse. And why? Translation, due to being opposed to Krishna consciousness, the conditioned soul is punished by the witch of the external energy Maya. He is thus ready to suffer the threefold miseries brought out by the body, the mind, and inimical behavior of other living entities and natural disturbances caused by the demigods. People are suffering so much. You all know that Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik, Adi Daivik, all the miseries of this world that are inflicted upon us. Why? Because we simply want to be separate, because we're envious of Krishna. We don't want to go back to Krishna. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sing, Jeev Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole, Kota Nidra, Jao Maya, Pisha Chera Kole. Kota Nidra, how long? How long? You sleep on the lap of the witch, Pishachi. We're thinking material life is so nice. Love and philanthropy and poetry and good food and dances and pubs and movies, restaurants. People think life is, but they're suffering. What is the result of that? They suffer. So Lord Chaitanya is saying, how long you suffer? How long will you suffer? Kota Nidra, how long you sleep How long do you remain asleep on the lap of the witch called Maya, on the lap of the witch of material life? How long will do that? Insane life. And to one degree or another, we're also guilty of that. In this way, the conditioned soul becomes a servant of lusty desires. And when these are not fulfilled, it becomes a servant of anger and continues to be kicked, also cooked by the external energy, Maya. Wandering and wandering throughout the universe, he may by chance get the association of a devotee physician whose instructions and hymns make the witch of the external energy flee. We read this in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Chaitanya Bhagavat, I think. Brahmanda Bhamite Kona Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Spiritual master is so kind, he gives the medicine. Ene Cheo Shodhi Maya Nashi Bharolagi. He gives the medicine to destroy the illusion of material life, the illusion of Maya. After wandering Brahmanda Brahmite through millions of universes and millions of lifetimes, trying to find that one thing, happiness, and never finding it, always slipping through your fingers. Where is happiness? Where is happiness? We're like a donkey. They put huge load of burden of laundry, of wood, of bricks on the back of the little donkey. And he's struggling, working hard for what? It's a little grass. The foolish donkey doesn't know there's grass growing on either side of the road. But he becomes controlled by the master, the cruel master who beats him. So we're also being controlled by just the horrible master of the modes of material nature, our own material desires. The merciless master of the modes of material nature, making us think there's some other thing in life besides serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We're going to have to skip a little bit because we're running close on time. Prabhupada quotes a verse, or Chaitanya Chaitanya is quoting a verse here. There's no limit to unwanted lusty desires. This is a fact. Kama rupena konteya dushparena analina cha. Lust burns like fire, never satisfied, never ever satisfied. Maybe you know, in the early 1900s, there was a great Chicago fire. Half of the city of Chicago burned to the ground. And it all started with a lamp, a kerosene lamp. A lady was milking her cow in the barn. Cow was having a bad day, knocked over the lamp. The lamp caught the straw on fire. The straw caught the barn on fire. The barn caught the neighborhood on fire. The neighborhood caught half the city on fire. And half the city of Chicago burned down from one lamp. What happens if the lamp sits there? It burns out. So we can't extinguish lust by supplying lust. You can't extinguish flame by supplying fuel. But if you don't supply fuel, the flame will burn out. And this is the principle of dealing with lust. That, okay, lust is there. Lust has always been there. For lifetimes it's been there. Doesn't have to be there. You ignore lust. Neglect lust. Neglect the mind that tells us you have to enjoy this thing. And move on. And simultaneously take the medicine. Aushodi, the medicine of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada writes in the purport, when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are saying, Oh Hare, O energy of the Lord, O my Lord Krishna. And this way, we are simply addressing the Lord and his spiritual potency. And this we have to do. My revered godbrother, Shishimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj, used to say, I have opened a crying school. How to learn to cry for Krishna. Because this is required. To cry out, Oh my Lord, oh Hare, oh Krishna, please pick me up from this ocean of material existence. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patita mam vishame bhavam buddho. I've fallen in this ocean of material existence. Please pick me up. Kripaya tavapada pankaja stita dulis, and situate me as an atom of dust at your lotus feet. You have to be picked. We can't, if someone has fallen into the ocean, they can't pull themselves out of the water. Someone has to pull you out of the water. So we beg, we cry. I'm tired of material life. I'm tired of struggle. I'm tired of rebirth. Please pick me up from this ocean of material life. Translation. Without devotional service, all other methods of self-realization, spiritual self-realization are weak and insignificant. Unless one comes to the devotional service of Lord Krishna, jnana and yoga cannot give the desired results. Report. In the Vedic scriptures, stress is sometimes given to fruitive activity, speculative knowledge, and the mystic yoga system. Although people are inclined to practice these processes, they cannot attain the desired results without being touched by Krishna Bhakti devotional service. Even in karma, if you want success in karma, bhakti has to be there, has to be touched by karma mishra bhakti, jnana mishra bhakti, yoga mishra bhakti. For success, there has to be some touch of bhakti, because bhakti means to please the Lord. What is the value of yoga if Lord's not pleased? Bhagavatam says, Atak Pumbya Dvija Shishta Varna Shamavibhagasha Swanustitasya Dharmasya Sansirir Haritoshanam. That the perfection of one's own life activities is to please the Lord. Sansirir Haritoshanam. If that is not there, what is the use of yoga? Yoga is useless. Excuse me. I can turn this off. What is the use of yoga without Krishna? Of karma without Krishna? Of jnana without, it is useless. The result. This is why Narottam Das Thakur said, karma kanda, jnana kanda, kevala vishara bhanda, kevala vish, unalloyed pot of poison. As someone has said, well, that's also described in Vedas. Vedas also, Vedic scriptures. They also, these processes are there in Vedas. Karma kanda means how to live in this world and enjoy. But this isn't the goal. Bhogai swarja prasaktanam taya bratachetasam vyabhasayatma guri samadho navadiyate. That Bhoga and Aishwarya are enemies in Krishna Bhakti. Unless they're used in Krishna service. This is another thing. This is a different thing. Translation, when pure devotion, when pure knowledge is beyond the material affinity, but is not dedicated to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, it does not appear, this is a verse from Bhagavatam, it does not appear very beautiful, although it is knowledge without material tinge. What then is the use of fruitive activities which are naturally painful from beginning and transient by nature, if they're not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord? How can they be attractive? So there's good examples of persons engaged in fruitive activities, like Nriga Maharaj. He was very busy in Karmakanda, giving donations to the Brahmins. He was donating cows, thousands of cows to the Brahmins. But there arose a discrepancy in his charity when one cow was claimed by two Brahmins. And they cursed him. And because of the curse of the Brahmins, he took birth as a lizard. But because of his piety also, he had a very good result. He was, that lizard, who was previously a great king, was stuck in a well, and Lord Krishna, taking compassion on him, pulled him out of the well and liberated him. But the point is that in karma, there's many discrepancies are there. Many problems may be there. But this isn't the same situation in bhakti, in chanting the holy name of the Lord. So Maharaj Niga had that problem. Sobari Muni is a big yogi, rishi, Muni Maharaj, meditating in the bottom of Jamuna. But he was unable to overcome lust. And when he saw a female fish and a male fish making their nest and making babies, his mind became agitated. Imagine some slimy fish engaged in sexual affairs. and his mind became agitated by that? What would happen if he watched primetime television in America? So he fell down, and he came out and he married 60 daughters. And he wanted to marry them, and they looked at him, and he's this wrinkled old sage. But because he had great mystic power, he transformed himself into the most beautiful man, and all the girls went crazy. I want to marry him. I want him. I want. And he engaged in material sense gratification with his for 100 years, and still unsatisfied. Kama rupena kunteya. Dushprena lust burns like fire. This is Sobari Muni. Vishwamitra, big yogi, mystic, guru of the demigods, guru of the demons. But when he heard the tinkling sound of Menika's ankle bells, he could not control himself. And he conceived a daughter named Shakuntala, who ended up marrying Bharat Maharaj. It's one Bharat, I think. Something. Anyway, the point is he couldn't control himself. But compare these people to Haridas Thakur. Maya Devi herself, Maya personified, presented herself to Haridas Thakur, and he said, yes, but let me finish my japa. One prostitute also came, same situation. Let me finish my japa. Uninterested in sense gratification. Sobari Muni was disturbed by seeing fish engaged in sexual activities. But when Maya Devi herself came to tempt Haridas Thakur, so sorry, I have to finish my japa. Let us skip down a little bit. Speculative knowledge alone without devotional service is not able to give liberation. On the other hand, even without knowledge, one can attain liberation if one engages in the Lord's devotional service. See how powerful is bhakti. How powerful, how wonderful is bhakti. The example is given in Shastra that of a person running through the woods at night. He can't see anything. It's pitch black. He's running through the woods, but he never trips. He never falls. He never runs into a tree. He never runs off a cliff. He's just running, unimpeded. So bhakti is something like that. Because we've taken up bhakti, why is it so perfect? Because Krishna is taking interest in the devotee. Takes interest in a devotee when we hear about Krishna. Savai pumsam paro dharmo, yato bhaktir, no. Shrendatam swakata Krishna, punya shavana kirtana, hridyantasto yabhadrani, vidunoti saritsatam. When we hear about Krishna, Krishna is conquered by the hearing process. We see Krishna not with our eyes, but we see Krishna with our ears. Three wonderful things happen when we take up the process of hearing about Krishna. First thing, we become knowledgeable. Because without knowledge, how can we think of Krishna? If I told you, please think of my brother. And you may say, well, how can I think of your brother? I don't know anything about your brother. I mean, he's a guy, but what more can I, you've never heard about my brother, so you can't think of him. So the first installment of mercy from hearing about Krishna is that we have the ability to remember his form, his beauty, his pastimes, his entourage, this nam, gun, rup, parikar, vasishta. We learn everything about Krishna so we can think of him. We can do manmana. We can think of Krishna. This first installment of mercy by hearing. Second installment, hridyantasto yabhadrani, all abhadrani, all inauspicious things in the heart are reduced almost to nil. Just by the process of hearing, by pouring that sound vibration through our ear, allowing it to enter our heart. That sound vibration cleanses our heart. And the third and most important thing is by doing that, we attract the mercy of Krishna. That by his mercy, he's pulling us out. It's not by our knowledge. It's not by our renunciation. It's not by our little attempts at bhakti. It's because Krishna shows his mercy. He pulls us out of this material world by attracting his mercy. So, and it's all based on hearing. Translation, my dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the only auspicious path. If one gives it up simply for speculative knowledge or understanding that the living beings are spirit souls and the material world is false, he undergoes a great deal of trouble. He only gains troublesome and inauspicious activities. His endeavors are like beating a husk that is already devoid of rice. His labor becomes fruitless. All these other paths, I mean, all these verses are glorifying how wonderful devotional service is. If we understand how wonderful it is, we'll understand how fortunate we are. We cannot estimate our good fortune, actually, because we're all qualifying ourselves to go back to Godhead. When the last breath comes, we're qualifying ourselves. Chaktva deham punar janma naiti mameti sarjana. We're qualifying ourselves to live up, to leave this body, and to go back to Godhead, just by this devotional service. Such a wonderful proposition. I'm skipping ahead because we're running out of time. We need to finish by 8:30. Is that correct, Prabhuji? 7:30 rather.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to skip quite a bit ahead. A nice verse is quoted: Krishna Surya Samaya Haya Andakar Yahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Maya Adhikar. That Krishna is compared to sunshine, Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion will immediately vanish. So what is Maya? What does Maya mean? Maya means an absence of Krishna. How do we define dark? Does darkness have a positive existence? What is darkness? It has no positive. We define darkness simply as an absence of light. So what is Maya? Maya means simply an absence of Krishna. So wherever there's Krishna, there can be no Maya. Very important thing to consider. Translation. Or Prabhupada writes in the purport here. The entire world is bewildered because people are thinking this is my land. America is mine. India is mine. Not knowing the real value of life, people think that the material body and the land where it is produced are all in all. Look at the world today. What is going on in Gaza? Israelis are claiming it. This is our land. The Palestinians are claiming my land. And tens of thousands of people are dying. And one war after another, based on the same principle, I and mine, aham mameti. It is I and it is mine. The land was there before there was a Palestine. The land was there before there was an Israel. It will be there when they're dead. But in the meantime, they're killing each other. We have the answer to this whole problem. First verse of Isupanish, Ishava Samidam Sarvam. Chatkincha Jagatam Jagatena Taktena Bunjita Magridaha Kasisvida. That Krishna is the supreme controller and proprietor. So Tena Taktena Bunja, take what you need as your quota. Don't try and take something that doesn't belong to you. Because what can we own in this world? Can we own land? Land owns us. We're products of the land. We're dependent on the land. But people fight and die over this illusion. Again, we have the answers to the problems that afflict the entire world, and they just need to be distributed. There's a nice verse spoken by Lord Ramchandra. He said, it is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for fearlessness, I shall immediately award fearlessness to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. So this is beautiful. One of the essential understandings that we glean from Ramayana. When Rama and his brother, Vibhishan, came and surrendered to Rama, Bharat said, not Bharat, Lakshman said, no, kill him. He's a demon. He's Ravana's brother. Kill him. Don't trust him. He's a demon. But because he was surrendering to Rama, Rama spoke this verse. If he's come to surrender to me, I offer him all protection. No, nothing to fear. So same thing. Probably we quoted the verse from Bhagavatam here. Akama sarva kama moksha kama udarati tivrena bhakti yogena yajena purusham param. Yajeta purusham param. That whether one is full of material desires or one has no material desires, tivrena bhakti yogena, take up wonderful process of bhakti. So this is an important thing in our preaching of Krishna consciousness. Bhakti is not just for people who are highly qualified, who have sukriti for bhakti. It's for everyone. So when people come to our sanghas, when they come to our temples, maybe they're dirty, maybe they're disheveled. We should try and give them prasadam, try and help them be a better person, try and free them from sin, give them good instruction to free them from sinful activities. There's a nice story about one Christian preacher. He was a new preacher. He was going to replace the old preacher. So he came to his congregation dressed like a homeless person, dirty, ragged clothing. Everybody ignored him. They were ready to show him the door. They were completely rude to him. And then a man from the board gets up and says, now I'd like to introduce our new pastor. Please come forward. And the ragged, so-called homeless person came up to the microphone and said, you people call yourself Christians, and this is how you treat people? Is this the example shown to us by Jesus Christ? So we can learn from this also. People come to our temples, we should help them. We should extend ourselves. Take prasadam. Try and help them become human beings to give them this wonderful process of bhakti. So akama, someone is desireless, or sarvakama, full of material desires, full of bad habits, full of illusion, greed, lust, anger, greed. You should help them. This is devotional life. Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he is very, very foolish. Indeed, he is just like a person who gives up ambrosia to drink poison. Since I am very intelligent, why should I give this fool material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material energy. I'll read this last verse because we're out of time. We didn't quite finish. We got close. Whenever Krishna is requested to fulfill one's desire, he undoubtedly does so, but he does not award anything which, after being enjoyed, will cause one to petition him again and again to fulfill further desires. When one has other desires but engages in the Lord's service, Krishna forcibly gives one shelter at his lotus feet, where one will forget all of the desires. This is Krishna's mercy. Yasyaham anugranami harishetaddanam shanai. Prabhupada explained, quoting from Bhagavatam, that Krishna's first installment of mercy is to take away our material desires. See the difference between devotee and non-devotee. Non-devotee is praying, help me fulfill my material desires. In other words, he's praying, entangle me more and more in the material world. And devotees praying, please remove that. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namaste Jaste Jase Ravya Ravya Bhava Vajranaka Vajradanstra Kama Shayam Randaya Tamo Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Atmani Bhuyishta Om Krom. Prahlad Maharaj prayed, you please, you're very, very powerful. Your teeth and nails are like thunderbolts. Please destroy my material desires. Please destroy my material. See the difference. Even if you can find a religious person in Kali Yuga, they go to the church, the synagogue, the masjid, the mandir, and they pray to God, please fulfill my material desires. And what are the devotees praying? Please remove my material desires. Please smash my material desires. Please remove material desires from my heart. Let me surrender to you. Such a big difference. This is real blessing. This is real mercy to be able to feel like that. And we strive for that. Try to awaken that desire in our heart by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Actually, there was only one verse left. We've pretty much finished. Sorry to have to rush through, but there's so much information that needed to be talked about, at least mentioned somehow. We had to skip some things also, but whatever. Anyone has any comment, question?
Go ahead, Amritam, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Sarvadrk Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisance. All glory to
Aye.
Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept mine, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. It's very nice. The format of your class, Prabhu, is you give. It's very relatable, especially what you recently said about, do you know my brother? Think of my brother till you don't have, So, and earlier you also had mentioned about Prabhupada and all the acharyas. They have always Guru Sadhu Shastra, what Guru Sadhu Shastra says. And that's how they share their Krishna consciousness with the masses. So, Prabhu, we sometimes have the opportunity to share Krishna consciousness with an audience, or it could be even one-on-one when you do book distribution. Now, we try to, stick to Sadhu Shastra, but then there are times like you have experiences, realizations, and you try to map it with whatever is the essence of the topic, whatever is the Shastra saying. So, Prabhu, how do we make sure that we are not concocting when we use analogies?
That use Prabhupada's analogies, and Prabhupada said something very interesting. He said that preaching is an art. It's a blessing. It's not like picking a fruit off a tree. You see a fruit, you want to eat it, you pick it, it's yours. So to be a preacher isn't that. It's a blessing to know what to say to a person, to encourage them in devotional life, and what not to say. Just like if I'm speaking to a group like your group, all devotees, many of you initiated, many of you second initiated, serious devotees practicing for years, we can have a different discussion, different level of discussion than like a Sunday feast class with brand new people. You don't give a Sunday feast class to initiated devotees, practicing devotees, senior devotees. I've heard that, they'll say, I heard that 100 times. And sometimes we need to hear things 100 times also. But we should be able to discriminate. And if we're quoting Prabhupada, then there's no concoction. If you're quoting your Guru Maharaj, then there's no concoction. But to say to pick what to say, just like in warfare, they have something called a shotgun. That is, one cartridge has many bullets. They pull the trigger, bam, it shoots out many bullets to a broad target. And then there's a sniper. A sniper has one bullet, and he picks a target at a long distance, and with one shot, he eliminates his victim. So preaching should be more like a sniper, not that you just quote every verse you ever heard, and the person is looking at you like, what are you talking about? But try and understand what is his consciousness. What is he able to digest of what you're telling him? And try and be, as you're speaking, be praying. That my dear Lord, you're in my heart. You're the heart of this person. Please bless me to say the correct thing to bring this person closer to you. Please give me that inspiration to know what to say and what not to say. I was sitting at a Sunday feast one time. A new couple. I sat down to a new couple. I thought, let me introduce myself, get to know them. And one very fired up Mataji sat down, and she started preaching to them what she thought was a good way to preach to them. And she asked them, do you know who Lord Chaitanya is? Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. Krishna is God, and he's blue, and he plays the flute. And Radharani is golden. And Radharani is Krishna's girlfriend. And Radharani becomes one with Krishna, and that's Lord Chaitanya. Is this the correct way to present Krishna consciousness to brand new people who are sitting down in our temple for their first time? Did she say something technically? Did she say anything wrong? No. But is this the proper way to present Krishna consciousness to a brand new person? Not at all. So we should understand who is our audience and pray for the ability to be able to transmit the message of pure devotional service purely. And then you'll not concoct. Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, very nice. If I may ask another question.
Anything?
Thank you.
Dasosmi.
So Prabhu, this is regarding, you mentioned when people come to our temples, there are just a handful of devotees who actually go out and greet them, talk to them, make some kind of a connection. And for the most part is, visitors, newcomers, they just come in, take darshan, if class is going on, listen to class, prasadam, and leave. And we can understand that, not everyone is an extrovert because people are introverts. They don't want to, they have some kind of inhibition or something. So what is it that we can do that everyone has the spirit, or at least most and not just a few, have the spirit of at least, greeting people and making them feel welcomed? Do we have a welcome committee or just assign a few devotees whose seva is to identify newcomers? How would that work, Prabhu?
Well, the thing is, extroverts will be comfortable with extroverts. And if someone is very introverted and some fired up devotee comes up, hi, Hare Krishna, welcome to our temple, and they're just jumping all over them, they may feel a little put off. I try and encourage devotees that the people coming to your temple are the fruit of your book distribution, your college classes, your preaching, your everything. Collect their data. Data is power. Collect WhatsApp numbers. If they don't want to give a WhatsApp number, maybe an email address, and build a database of people that are coming to your temple. That this is your wealth. The wealth of any temple is its congregation. The strength of any temple is the congregation. The devotees living in the temple are the examples, the acharyas, the preachers, the examples of Krishna consciousness, or the initiated devotees living outside that frequent the temple. But the wealth of how we build our communities, we have to be in touch with these people. So an introverted person who may feel uncomfortable being greeted and preached to at the temple will feel completely at ease in his own home to read something you send him. Or just a little, they're making all these short little clips now. I know that I've spent quite a bit of time at our Punjabi Bagh temple in Delhi, and they have such a nice program. They have thousands of people on their email list. They have a very active website, and they send people just little short 2-minute clips. Prabhupada said this, or some extract from a very enlivening class, and they cultivate their congregation in a media that people are very comfortable with. I mean, who doesn't have a mobile phone these days? Everybody has a mobile phone. So send them a short clip. Get their birthday. The whole year goes on. They don't think of me, don't think of me. Then it's their birthday or their anniversary. Oh, they remembered me. Oh, those Hare Krishna people, so nice. They care about me. And in this way, build friendships. Like we talk about fundraising. Fundraising will follow friend raising. Make friends with your congregation. Develop contact with them. Not just, you sit down, take prasadam with them, and you explain something from Bhagavad Gita, and that's all good. We should do that. But we should think how to cultivate them over a period of time also. Develop a database. And they can log into that, and they're at their own, have a temple website, as I imagine you must have. And use these tools. Internet is a wonderful servant, but it's a very bad master. So we can make this digital technology serve us with emails, with WhatsApp messages, with websites. In many ways, we can develop our congregation using these tools. Hope that's helpful to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Any other question, comment, correction?
Thank you, Prabhu. I think we'll conclude at 9:15.
Yes.
Thank
Good.
you so much
Sorry,
for the valuable
sorry
time.
for the overtime. I tried to fit
No problem.
an ocean into a gallon container.
No problem.
So we got a few drops in.
No, you covered pretty much wonderfully.
Okay.
All those to you, all those to Prabhupada. Thank you.
Jai Shila Prabhupada. Vancha Kalpatarubyascha Kripa Sindhuvaya
Sindhu
Patitanam Pavanebhyo.
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Jai.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Happy Sankranti to everyone. So please join today's Sunday Fish program in the evening. January 14th, tomorrow onwards, we'll have Ram Katha today evening as well. And tomorrow onwards till 21st, we'll have Ram Katha every day in the evening, 7 to 8 p.m. The Sunday Fish class also will be there on Ram Katha. Because Ayodhya Mandir opening up. Celebration we're celebrating.
Prabhu, will this be done on Zoom?
Yes. Ram Katha will be on the Zoom. On the regular Zoom, which we are using. Nectar devotion class going on the same Zoom we'll have Ram Katha as well. So please try to join govindasnj.com to place Govindas orders. Every Friday evening we have pizzas available option, so you can place your orders, pre-order it by Thursday. Those are the quick announcements. So we'll see you all in the evening. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.